Okay, I just had the greatest idea ever. Okay, so in World War One, they didn't have paratroopers. They did have airplanes, they did have parachutes. The idea hadn't really occurred to them because they couldn't pack enough people onto an airplane. But the planes that they did fly could be landed damn near anywhere. Those biplanes, you could land in fields. That's what they were made to do. Here's my thought. Pick a appropriate airplane to do this with and make World War I air cavalry. They could have done this. So the air cav in Vietnam, the idea was you have helicopters. Helicopters bring you into the fight. You know, you fly in, drop off, they fly off, right? No parachutes. Same idea, but with biplanes. With, all of the landing possibilities in the French countryside as your, thing. Either that or, hell, we're going to fly real low and real slow, and you guys are going to drop into them trees. And, we do this by having guys hang on to the wings. And my thing is, one plane load of this is not going to be enough dudes. But, let's say it's 2 dudes per plane, one on each wing. It's loaded up with kit and everything. They're going to be heavy. And you're going to need a fucking, a powerful plane that's rigged for carrying heavy shit, but it can't be like a bomber. It's going to have to be like a fighter because it's going to be going to need to be able to land more places. So let's say you had 50 of these things with 2 people each. And let's say you did 3 flights or something like that, or 2 flights. So that would be, it's 2 flights. That's 200 people. That's quite a bit, really, especially if they're equipped with pistols and grenades and whatever the World War I version of a Molotov cocktail was. I'm sure they had some sort of thing like that. And the plan, at least my idea for the plan for this would be, you pack enough shit that flight out, you can only do 2 per plane. Flight in, you can do 4 per plane. That way, that would explain the math on this. Because the goal here, at least my thought would be, this isn't enough people to take over a town or some shit. But 200 dudes armed with fucking pistols and submachine guns and shit and grenades and explosives and whatever, that's enough dudes to wreak havoc in the back lines of someplace. Especially if you had them plant timed explosives and then do a grenade attack someplace and have it timed to where you just did the grenade attack and now everything else is blowing up, and now onto this scene you guys arrive just shooting pistols at people. And as soon as you're out of ammo, y'all just book it, and you book it to a predetermined spot that the planes can fucking land. God, and all of this would have had to have happened at night, which I think that might have been hindering I think this might have been why this didn't happen. Because really, this would have been a suicide raid if you don't have a way back. And the only way to do this and have a way back is to do it all in one night. I don't know. You could definitely have done this small scale. Hey, we're going to take some planes and drop in 10 dudes. And that alone could wreak some fucking havoc. And I doubt they even did that much of that because, the honor of it and whatever. But, like, this is my idea. World War I air cavalry with 50 fucking biplanes with 2 men on each wing. Or 2 flights with 2 men on each plane or whatever. You know what I mean? 100 men per flight. And, like, the thing would be, you'd have to make this to where that first flight, those dudes would just be sitting there on the ground waiting it out for the rest of their dudes, which is a plausible thing back then. They didn't have radar. They didn't really even have observers or whatever. Like, if you did it right, no one would have ever even seen where those planes landed. Especially, like, I would not do this initially anywhere near the front. I would do this attack, like, to open up a gap in the front somewhere way the fuck off. Like, way down in southern France somewhere, maybe. I don't know. But my thought would be is if you did drop these dudes in to open up a hole in the front, it would be to have them break off in small squads and fucking do grenade and submachine gun attacks after planting explosives. And make it to be like, we don't know where these fucking madmen are coming from. Especially if you had them, dude, what if you had them Bonnie and Clyde it? Okay, the game plan is everybody is in a fucking motor gang. You guys go steal cars. Steal as many fucking cars as you can. Steal as many trucks as you can. That's why we're carrying pistols. We're going far enough behind the lines that, like, we aren't going to be running into infantry companies, hopefully. Let's go steal some trucks. And then, like, I don't think their vehicles back then could have done some of the Bonnie and Clyde type shit, especially not through the hills of France. But it would have been awesome, right? To have, like, motorized cavalry that was flown in by fucking biplanes, and then you steal your own fucking trucks from the enemy. That would wreak havoc. That's like some straight out of, like, World War II shit thrown into World War I with their level of tech. It's not very feasible, really, because basically most people don't have that kind of skill set, and the ones that do, they ain't suicidal. And that's a suicide run, really. Fucking riding in, hanging onto the wing of a biplane loaded with enough fucking explosives to, take down half of France. Because that's the thing, is you'd really have to do it as sending in mad bombers with pistols. That's how they would be most effective. And, like, imagine if you gave them multiple options of death. Like, they had some machine guns. The MP-18 or whatever, if you equipped these dudes with MP-18s and Lugers with drum mags on both of them, whatever, like, honestly, just a belt full of Lugers and with normal mags and a MP-18 and a whole bunch of stick grenades and a bunch of dynamite with timers. Try to think of what else that they had back then that would have been fucking handy to have. Most of the explosives they had would have been, like, probably dynamite. They might have had TNT by then. I don't know. They definitely would have had some sort of way to start fires, like an incendiary thing of some sort. And that's, really, hell, just even carrying matches, that would add a very lightweight way for you to fucking cause chaos. When in doubt, light shit on fire. That's my life's motto. I don't know, what do you think of this? Is Is this crazy? I think it is a little crazy, but I would wonder if someone might have tried it had they had it pitched to them. Especially with the idea that, hey, we're not going in as infantry. We're sending in saboteur car thieves. If you really wanted to wreak havoc, it's not, an infantryman isn't really what you want to send. It is, but it isn't. There's you need the infantryman that can be the saboteur car thief. You need someone who can do it all. And that's how we end up with paratroopers, basically. The crazy part is, the part of this that you're like, nah, that wouldn't work more than likely about, is the biplanes landing pretty much anywhere. But that's actually just like a thing. At least in World War I, if you saw military airfields, you would have been like, where's the runways? Because they were just like, grass fields. That's what they were made to land on. The idea of a tarmac hadn't really happened yet. And like the triplanes, like the Germans used, those are even better. Basically, every tier of wings gives you more lift. The more lift you have, it lowers your stall speed. So that means that basically you can go really, really low and really, really slow and land in a very short amount of space. That's why they did that. It was, given the limited speed of the time, I think it makes sense. So if you go and look into ultralight aircraft today, I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't buy and plot and try designs still lurking around someplace. It's handy for those little kind of stall plane kind of things. It would be dope also, like the modern version of this is, I thought about this the other day. You have a fucking like sniper team or a pair of them or something in some twin seat ultralights. I think that would be pretty dope. You like fly in really, really low. It's kind of noisy or whatever, but like, I think a lot of people underestimate, basically in today's day and age, whether the radar sees you or not is more important than the fucking noise your ship makes. That's, a sad statement, but it's kind of true. If you fly over a major metropolitan city, that's one thing or whatever, right? But like, assuming that like you were gonna go cross from like Alaska to Russia or something and go do something, no one would know you were there. If so I'm trying to think of another place you could just go to like that, like Korea. If you went from South Korea to North Korea like that, I don't think anyone would even fucking realize it. Not unless you, like, flew directly over the fucking guard shit along the fucking wall and shit. Like, you have to be smart, right? I don't know. It would be cool to make a silent version of that. Have a little ultralight thing that, you could land almost anywhere. That you could fly pretty far on the gas it could carry. Like, especially if you could get it like where it had 1,000-mile range on one of them little things. You'd have to be stripped down to a flying gas can, which it basically is anyway. You could do like, what is that thing called? The little Nelly from James Bond. It's a gyrocopter. You could do one of those. Those are always kind of cool. This is where my mind is at, though. Like, primitive paratroopers. I don't know. The World War I thing came about because I was watching All Quiet on the Western Front, which I'm going to go back to now. But I had this idea, and I don't know, it folds in nicely with the little ultralight thing I was thinking about. And, like, the reason I was thinking about that was I want to get land with my buddy Blazer, right? I would like us to get enough land to do some stuff on. And having a barn and a field capable of launching ultralight aircraft is cool. And especially with the idea that, like, you could launch, like, recon sniper teams out of there in the end of the world. Oh, that's just fucking badass, man. So, I don't know. Maybe the ultimate version of this would be, like, a triplane. Something. Although, I think that would take a lot of gasoline. But it would legit be able to land anywhere and haul a bunch of shit. Someday, like, my ultimate goal is to have a World War I biplane. I think that would be dope. Keep building our air empire till we get there. I doubt we'll ever do that because kind of like my whole idea with the ultralights is I want shit that's not regulated by the government. And, like, I don't know. I don't really need, like, big planes. I just want the ability to, like, fly in the end of the world, if that makes any sense. And also, like, having some old biplane laying around, legitimately, in the end of the world, the plane that's going to be flying the longest is that old biplane that runs off of, like, I don't know. Those actually probably run off of some sort of aviation fuel, now that I think about it. I was going to say they ran off of diesel. If you had an airplane that ran off of diesel, that'd be the one to get. And I'm sure there's some Soviet thing that is like a biplane that runs on diesel. Those will be the last planes flying in the end of the world. Anyway, see you guys later.